So we need to talk about Jabril Cox and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. So we got to talk about Jabril Cox. Jabril Cox was the best defender for the North Dakota State Bison. I believe that he is the best available player in the transfer portal in the year 2020. And that includes quarterbacks like Jamie Newman, who ended up at Georgia. That includes all sorts of dudes like Levi Draper, who I thought was really high and ends up at Arkansas. But Cox was the best linebacker, or one of the best linebackers, I should say, in college football last year. I believe that if he was considered for the Butkus Award at the FBS level, he would have finished runner-up, perhaps behind Isaiah Simmons, who is, a dude we got to start talking about as the ROE, which is, short for Robert Oppenheimer experiment, because he's just a destroyer of worlds. And at the FCS level, that's what Jabril Cox was. He was a two-star dual-threat quarterback out of the KC-Mo area who ends up at North Dakota State playing some linebacker and turns into an All-American Defensive Player of the Year type. Last year, 92 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, pass breakups, interceptions. As a redshirt sophomore, the man had 4 interceptions and returned 2 for touchdowns. For North Dakota State, he was their best linebacker, but he was also their best defensive end, slot corner. He could do it all at 6'3", 230 pounds. Him entering the portal is a very, very big deal. And after his announcement on Twitter, where he thanked his Bison brethren and really received a vote of confidence from quarterback and player of the year, or freshman player of the year, Trey Lance for the Bison, in that, hey man, it's my brother and I want him to do well, he was followed closely by the likes of Ed Orgeron on the Twitters, right? Herb Hand from Texas, Joey McGuire from Baylor. Now, to date, there's no word about whether or not Oklahoma is going to make a play, for those of you that are watching to find that out. But I would not be shocked if they do, because you have some wiggle room here, right? With all of these guys going to the portal for Oklahoma, you've got some scholarships that are going to be available at the end of the semester. But so is everybody else, right? That puts you into a pool of a bunch of folks. Like, I genuinely believe that Jabril Cox can make Alabama better. He could make Clemson better. He could certainly make the likes of Texas, Oklahoma, and LSU better. And LSU feels like a nice fit for him because he can move right into that inside position that has been vacated by Patrick Queen. He could also be your stand-up guy if you need another Clavon Chasen. He would complement a Marcel Brooks. At Oklahoma, he would give you a dyed-in-the-wool, 3-time national champion, Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year, runner-up for the Buck Buchanan Award, which is given to the best defensive player in FCS each year, and a man who absolutely knows scheme and absolutely knows fit. He as a running mate for Deshaun White is great, but also that's going to really make your linebacker depth that much better and force guys like Caleb Kelly to show that he has learned how to take over that position and do more than just lead from the sidelines, because we've been expecting a guy like Caleb Kelly to ascend for like 4 years now, and whether it's been injuries or been flat out beat by the likes of a guy like Curtis Bolton, he just hadn't been there. And having a man who has the pedigree to be a natural will linebacker who can do all sorts of things that perhaps Kenneth Murray Jr. couldn't do, like cover guys in the slot, is a luxury that not a lot of people get, right? Quarterbacks, I understand positional value there, and getting a good quarterback can change your football team, but getting a guy like Cox is just rare. You don't see it. You don't see 3-time national champions go into the portal. You don't see guys that had over 90 tackles and were the best defender on their football team go into the portal. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, RJ, North Dakota State, isn't that where Chris Kleiman just came from? Doesn't he have a staff full of guys that used to be at North Dakota State? Yeah, but perhaps Jabril Cox can go past the K-State. Now, perhaps he wants to go play for Chris Kleiman and Clanderman. But knowing that Scotty Hazelton is no longer there as the defensive coordinator, with Scotty Hazelton taking the defensive coordinator position at Michigan State, also has to factor in there. Now, Kleiman being Kleiman and knowing him, you got to believe they got an inside track here. And if they are willing to recruit the hell out of him, I could see K-State landing Jabril Cox. But really, he's in a buyer's market, man. Like, the number of folks that will be lined up at his door for the next 3 months trying to get him onto campus is going to be long. I mean, Jamar Cain probably got on the horn right away, having some ties to North Dakota State, probably having seen, at the very least, Jabril Cox coming out of high school, because the man knows from recruiting and he knows what he needs to be great. But you would need Brian Odom to make a play along with Alex Grinch, along with Lincoln Riley. But when I saw this name pop up, I went, oh my goodness, somebody is about to get really, really good on defense, or at least better. Now, if he ends up at a place like Texas, we know that he slots right away, right? And I know that Texas needs an inside linebacker because they're going to move Joe Asai down. I don't know that LSU needs an inside linebacker, but the stories about Ed Orgeron and his ability to close and his need to recruit and his need to go and get players is phenomenal. As a matter of fact, there's some tape that at some point in the segment I'm going to play of Ed Orgeron, or not of Ed Orgeron, but of a player pursued by Ed Orgeron, and how Ed went to great lengths to go get the man. But sticking with Jabril here, if you want to move him inside, and I think you do, you need to make sure that it's a fit for him, and you need to be able to provide him something that I believe he's leaving North Dakota State to get, which is looks on television, right? Being a Power 5 league. I think that's going to be at the top of the list. And then you need to show him that you can develop him into the kind of player that can make it into the NFL, perhaps even in the first round, right? That's what you're talking about. I don't know that Kansas State has the best track record for this, but Chris Kleiman also is the only guy in the Big 12 last year to hand Lincoln Riley an L. Now, doesn't have Scotty Hazelton, as I said, but it would be a boon for them to pick him up and then continue to develop him and maybe trust their development and trust the looks on national television that Kansas State is going to get to vault him into the first round. But if Alabama came calling or LSU came calling, it's going to be hard to turn them down. The same thing would go for a Clemson. It's going to be fun to watch where Jabril Cox ends up. But if nothing else, now we all get to see him at the Power 5 level, I believe. Now we all get to see him at the FBS level, and we're all going to be just that much more informed and knowledgeable about just what a great player he is. And I'm excited about that.